He told me that to increase his longevity as a husband, he needed to take his wife out for dinner because her birthday's today, September 10th. Otherwise, he would be here. But we just want to say, you've been a great advocate for the military.
Yes.
And I just want to say thank you so much for that. And you're really the driving force behind Regional Defense Partnership 21. And I was at a couple of the meetings over the course of the past year, and just the way that that group advocates for the military, even in Washington and other places locally, to just press on with, hey, this base needs to stay and such. And we really want to thank you for that. And of course, Gene Fisher as well. I know you and him being co-chair together have really helped advance things with the base. And you played a big part in the sand erosion issue at Hueneme Beach out here. The federal government couldn't seem to have any money that year to be able to pay for their responsibility to replenish that beach, and I know you were big in helping resolve that. You know, that created public infrastructure threat. It created a threat to private property, and that was an issue in 2013. It came to a head then, and working with other local agencies, getting emergency state funding to mitigate the erosion there at the beach, appreciate that, and then also applying pressure to the federal government and making them get off their duffs. Yeah, I shouldn't say that, I'm in the federal government. But to get themselves squared away, to get them to fully fund the dredge project the following year. So I really want to thank you for that. And really you were instrumental in bringing key players together for the joint land use study. Initially, the organization of that, thank you for that. And also, you were a big champion of bringing the community together and promoting community partnerships with the base and BBC. And I appreciate that. In order to, really this joint land use study is really to prevent encroachment, really at Point Mugu, primarily, it would be at Port Hueneme as well, and also to preserve land use compatibility at our base and the community. So thank you for that, being involved in that. We really appreciate that. And just all in all, in summary, I just wanted to say thanks for your support for the military and for our base, and you're going to be greatly missed. And I just want to say, in the Navy, what we say is, we wish you fair winds and following seas in your future. So thank you very much.
Okay, next up is Captain Bob Quinn on behalf of the U.S. Coast Guard base at Mugu.
All I can say, first of all, is Kathy, delighted always to see you and work with you. Why I'm representing the Coast Guard, I don't know, but I happen to be standing around like an idiot. Larry said, hey, you, tomorrow, we need you. So I've been here off and on for a long while. I came to this base in 1960 and been here intermittently ever since. Some folks like Doug wonder when the hell I'm going to go away. But one of the newest members that's going to join Naval Base Ventura County and its associated organizations is the U.S. Coast Guard. Currently they have a large aviation unit at LAX, primarily helicopters, performing the Coast Guard functions throughout the Central California area. Like all the rest of us, when the folks at LAX decided they needed to expand, they suggested to the Coast Guard they find somewhere else to park their helicopters because they were going to take the land away from them. That was a couple of years ago, and Kathy, as as one of the co-leaders of RDP 21, got a bunch of us involved in what can we do to assist the Coast Guard and to assist the Department of Defense efforts in Ventura County to make sure that what we have here as Naval Base Ventura County is pretty safe from base reductions. And obviously, the more functions you perform, the less likely you are to suddenly be on the list of those who won't be with us anymore. Kathy made trips to Washington. She made trips to Sacramento. She tried to talk to the Coast Guard, and they're a sort of military organization. And talking to military organizations is like talking to a tree. I can say that because I spent 34 years in the Navy, a big chunk of it right here at Port Hueneme. And I find the military organization a bunch of idiots who don't listen to common sense. But in spite of all of that, Kathy, with her perseverance and her capabilities, was able to convince the Coast Guard that they ought to do this. They did a bunch of studies, and this was not a one-time thing. This was how many years? More years than we're going to admit. They eventually agreed that, yes, we should and do want to move the Coast Guard helicopters from LAX to Point Mugu. And we would like to move our fixed-wing aircraft from Sacramento and a few other places here and have a major Coast Guard presence. The only problem is one that you may have heard with respect to military. We don't have the money. If the Navy would give them a hangar and do other things, they would be here yesterday. Well, the Navy doesn't do things for themselves, much less for the Coast Guard or anybody else. That took a long time, but finally the hangar is being built. The Coast Guard is coming. When or if, I would say more likely, when the fixed wing aspects will get here, Kathy's successors will have to worry about. But she got the ball rolling. She has made that happen. And as a member of RDP 21 for more years than I can remember, I want to thank you, Kathy, on behalf of the Coast Guard, on behalf of the folks here, and on my personal behalf, for the super job you've done in letting the community know what goes on this side of the fence, and helping to educate those of us who spent our lives on this side of the fence, that it isn't the enemy on the other side of the fence. They're our friends and neighbors. And this community now gets all kinds of accolades when RDP 21 sends its team back to Washington every year, because it's one of the few places in this country where the community strongly supports the presence of the military in this community, and the cooperation and the support from the community for things the military is trying to do are truly appreciated by the very senior folks in the military and the Congress. So Kathy has been a key kingpin in making that happen. And I thank you as an individual, as a former military type, and hopefully as a friend. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Bob. Next up, Jason Barnes, from Field Rep for Congresswoman Julia Brown.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be here on behalf of Congresswoman Brownlee. She sends her regards and wishes she could join us this evening. We are here tonight to recognize the outstanding work of Supervisor Long and all that you have done for the community. and the County of Ventura as a whole, spanning over 20 years of public service. For that, thank you. Supervisor Long, Congresswoman Brownlee asked me to convey her most sincere gratitude for all the good work you have done. You have been a partner on a number of projects in the community, including dredging the Ventura Harbor, protecting Naval Base Ventura County, and securing sand replenishment for Hueneme Beach, where residents can once again enjoy it. Congresswoman Brownlee is proud to call you a fellow advocate and most importantly a dear friend. And on behalf of the Congresswoman, thank you, Supervisor Long, and we wish you all the best in your retirement. And she asked that I present you with this certificate of special congressional recognition for what you have done. Thank you. Yeah.
My husband's taking a picture, all right.
Next up is Wilberg for the Port of Hueneme.
Thank you very much. Kathy, congratulations. It's great. Kathy's done a lot for the port, and there's just not enough time in the day to be able to outline everything that she has really done for us. Probably the one most important thing is twisting arms and kicking behinds, getting us to collaborate in a more effective manner to do what we do, but to also share the news of what we do with the community. Kathy's been just central in creating this collaboration, and we've all learned a lot about collaborating by watching what Kathy does. It's important. Well, I've been here 17 years in the city of Port Hueneme, and from the very beginning when I joined the port, Kathy was already here and already doing things for us. I remember early on that there was a widening project for Hueneme Road, because for many, many years Hueneme Road was a single lane road on each side, which you're very aware of, right? Well, now that's no longer the case. All the way out to the county line, we now have a double lane road. But that was part of her plan, because through VCTC and other organizations within the county, Kathy knew that we needed some way to connect the port to the freeway. We needed to get to the 101, to those corridors outside to increase our trade. And increasing trade, as you know, increases jobs and opportunities for other people as well. So Kathy was involved in the Rice Avenue extension that took place around about 2004, 2005. And that was, remember, Rice Avenue used to stop at Pleasant Valley Road. And then you had to drive through fields if you wanted to get to Hueneme Road, and that just doesn't do. And now we're looking at the whole concept of connecting Highway 1 all the way to the 101 and diverting traffic off of Oxnard Boulevard and going around the city. I mean, it's future plan, it's future thinking that takes, and this is what Kathy played a part in. We today call that Rice Avenue extension and the widening of Hueneme Road our Port Intermodal Corridor. We market that to companies such as Mission Produce, but also to Chiquita, Del Monte, and other major international companies, because now you can bring your cargo through this port on a road, on a corridor that was developed intentionally to help these businesses. Thank you for that. As you all know, most of you, I'm sure you know, the port does not collect any taxes. We make our money through customers and charging our customers fees for what they bring in. We do, however, have an opportunity to seek grants from the federal and state government. Now, we didn't used to do that. When I first joined the port, we didn't get grants. We didn't even apply for them. Now, over the last 6 or 7 years, we've started doing that with a vengeance. We've got an executive director that knows how to go after these state and federal funds. But you don't get grants if you don't collaborate. And again, Kathy was integral in helping us collaborate. Tiger Grant is our most recent one, $12.3 million coming to the port so that the port can deepen down to 40 feet. That's going to create opportunities for larger ships, not longer ones, deeper ones, higher and deeper, but not longer. We're restricted to just about 800 feet for how big a ship can be before we can't take it into the harbor anymore. So $12.3 million. Now, part of my job, and we all had to work together at the port when we applied for these kinds of grants, part of my job was to go out and ask for letters of support from the community, because the federal government always wants to know, what is the local community? Where are they coming from? I remember asking Kathy for a letter of support, and guess what? I got 6 letters of support. No, what do you mean? She's only one person. No, wait. She got a letter of support signed by her, and she got one signed by every other of these supervisors in the county. So there's our 5. But wait, there was 6. She got a letter from the county saying Ventura County supports this grant program, etc. With that kind of support, with that kind of backup, with that kind of collaboration, you can't lose. In addition to that $12.6 million, over the years, we've gotten another $1.5 EDA grant. And it seems tedious at times, but it is so important, because without those grant dollars, and of course Julia has been our champion in Congress with her friend Kathy in getting these grants. I mean, it's critical for what we do, and would not happen without this support. Security grants. Over the last 15 years or so since I've been there, more than $15 million in security grants alone have come through the port. Well, what have we done with that? Well, we've purchased police dogs. We've also purchased a mobile communication center for the Hueneme Police Department. We got bicycles for the Hueneme police officers to be able to patrol the beach communities near the port. How does that relate to the port? They're our police department too, because we're part of the community. We need help. We call the city. And they're there to help us. And we're learning how to make this partnership work by copying examples that helped us learn how to work with other people, RDP 21 and others. Kathy, you led the way on this. And you've got whoever follows you after this has some big shoes to fill. Not that you got big feet, but big shoes. However, what they do have to look forward to are some very strong shoulders to stand on, because you've built a lot for them. We did pass a resolution at the board level, but my commissioners could not be here today. We do have Commissioner Arlene Frazier with us. Arlene, where are you? Right here. There she is. I'm sorry. We talked about this before coming up tonight. And Arlene, do you want to talk? Well, no, I don't think so. And so I got the privilege of being able to come up and say a few words about this. And Arlene, thank you very much. But the other commissioners did not want to present this resolution until they could be there too. They really all want to be there, all 5 of them. They couldn't be here necessarily. There were other obligations that they had. So they want to thank you personally themselves too. You have done so much, not just for the port, but for the city, for our community, for District 3. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Will. I don't know if any of you are aware, but distinguished past President Doug Breeze with our organization and the current mayor has been ill. He's on the mend, but we've got Mayor Pro Tem Jonathan Sharkey to come and deliver some information for our distinguished guest.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, Doug's out of the hospital. Thank you for your prayers and kind thoughts. Kathy, on behalf of the city of Port Hueneme, I have this beautiful, already framed plaque, suitable for hanging on your wall with all your other plaques. And while you're admiring that, I'll read a proclamation honoring Kathy Long for her years of service to Ventura County and the city of Port Hueneme, which reads, whereas Supervisor Kathy Long has had a distinguished 20-year career serving the Ventura County residents as the 3rd District Representatives on the Ventura County Board of Supervisors, and whereas Supervisor Long's leadership throughout her years of service has championed efforts to safeguard the long-term fiscal stability of the county, ensuring that public safety remained a top priority, improved the economic vitality of the county, protected and strengthened access to quality, cost-effective, and culturally relevant health care, supported sustainable housing and land use development practices that balance the protection of agriculture, open space, transportation, and livable communities, and strengthened families by protecting children's economic security, health, education, and safety. And whereas Supervisor Long's most notable work for the Port Hueneme community includes her efforts to fight for the protection of the Navy base, advocating for matters important to local veterans, and whereas Supervisor Long has been a strong supporter of the regional economic advancement of the Port of Hueneme, and whereas Supervisor Long has been an advocate for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers dredging project to provide sand for Hueneme Beach, and whereas Supervisor Long was instrumental in gaining financial support for the protection of the Hueneme Beach during the significant 2014 erosion, and whereas Supervisor Long has been actively engaged in efforts to reestablish the Oxnard and Port Hueneme Boys and Girls Club, and whereas Supervisor Long has worked hard to preserve and advocate for opportunities for all residents to learn and discover, promoting the immeasurable value of the county library system, as well as the rich history of the community shared through the United States Navy Seabee Museum and organizations like the Friends of the Bard Mansion. Now therefore, the City Council of the City of Port Hueneme commends Supervisor Kathy Long for her long-term commitment to residents and for maintaining the county's high quality of life. The council thanks Supervisor Long for her 20 years of outstanding leadership, signed by Doug Breeze, Mayor. Yeah, Kathy's been a great friend and a great supporter for many, many years, and I think we knew each other way before either one of us was elected, so great to be here. Now, on the agenda, are you next?
No.
Somebody else, okay.
Oh, I forgot about John.
That's right. John, why don't you come up and pay your respects here too?
Went right through that, didn't you? No, it's on yours.
Thank you, David. It's really an honor. By the time they got to me, everybody said everything. I don't have to say any more.
Thank you, John.
Kathy, really is an honor. It's really an honor for me to be here today amongst the friends of the Bard Mansion. One of the things that I'm really honored to be here today is to say a couple of words. I just want to say something. When I got elected back in 2008, actually I raised my hand in 2009. I took the oath. I went down over to my office, and my office was nothing. I mean, zero. I mean, it was dusty. There was an old blonde desk. Remember the old desk that weighed about, it took about 3 kids and 2 guys to move it. It was dusty. It was nothing, not even a piece of paper. And Kathy's office was next to mine. Kathy came over to my office. Her staff came over to my office. They brought pens and pencils. And we had accommodations, blue accommodations that we use for resolutions and so forth. And all of a sudden, I had material to work with. So my staff and mine were very, very happy. I had a smooth transition because of you, Kathy, because of your help. Even today, my staff remembers that. One of the things that I'd like to share with you is that we talked about RDP 21. Kathy was right there. When I joined RDP 21, even as a council member for Oxnard, you were there, and you were the leader, talking to the state, talking to the feds. We went to the Pentagon. We went to different places over in the Hill. We talked to all the elected officials and so forth. Kathy was right in there. I just want to thank you for that. Kathy worked for Maggie Kelby, and she started from the bottom, and she worked herself up to the position that she has now. So anybody who's been to the bottom or worked in the bottom like I have too, really appreciates where you're at now. And you've done an excellent, excellent job for that. So I want to thank you for that. But let me share a little bit more. RDP 21, I had the opportunity to go with you. And again, you were that person that really taught me a lot. And I've always said you've been my mentor, and I really appreciate it tremendously. I have a little resolution that I'm going to give you. However, you're going to get a lot more resolutions like somebody mentioned, but let me read this to you, Kathy. Come on up. And this is from the 5th District. This is Board of Supervisors, County of Ventura, State of California. Honors, look at that. Kathy Long, for 40 years of dedicated service to the public, 26 of those years, Kathy worked for the County of Ventura. Now, after 20 years, as a member of the Board of Supervisors representing the 3rd District, Kathy, enjoy your retirement. We're going to miss you. This is from the 5th District. We wish you a very happy retirement, and we're going to miss you on the Board of Supervisors. Thank you so much. And you guys, you know, Kathy, look at this. Can you see that?
I was going to say, artsy with a woman with a hat.
With a hat. She always wears a hat, and there it is. And I want to thank you so
I
much.
guess I better start putting them on, right?
Thank you again, and we're going to miss you tremendously. Thank you. Thank you. Use my phone too, Randy, because that's a Facebook picture.
I say that to everybody anymore.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Thank you. Dave?
Well, Kathy, actually, for the agenda, it's your turn to come and speak. So, yes, it is. Yeah, that's right. And then there'll be some question and answer period afterwards.
There will be?
There will.
Can you hear me? Oh, that's good. Good. Because it just is easier to move through some prepared comments. As I start this long goodbye, and it's with so much great heart and affection for so many parts of my community that I've been fortunate to serve for 20 years, and Port Hueneme certainly being a significant one. So I have to prepare remarks so I don't just stand up here and weep. But in the invitation to come this evening with the Friends of the Bard, very special, because this is such a special place. This has such significant history in this part of our county, but for our entire county. When you see the pictures of Senator Bard and Supervisor Bard, you know the deep roots that are here. And you have to acknowledge them and respect them. And so I'm one very honored. Thank you so very much for inviting me to be here tonight. To David, as the president of the Friends, thank you. As a volunteer, you do that with great heart. It's often not something that you get great reward from other than great heart and knowing that it's a passion you care about. So thank you, David, for your work with the Friends. And to Becky Bruning, the past president of the Friends, and Joni. That was one of my biggest pleasures, was to meet you and to really hear and feel from you the love you have of your family and the roots and the importance of honoring that. And it's just been my gift to receive from you, to get to know you and understand what all this is about. Thank you. To Henry and to Georgia, thank you. There you go. And again, to honor all of the work. President John F. Kennedy is credited for starting the space race when he announced he was determined to put a man on the moon before the end of the 1960s. For a decade, the United States was fully engaged in a race for the moon. And before Neil Armstrong took his infamous first step on the surface of the moon, there was the crew of Apollo 8, the first team to orbit the moon. Nothing overshadowed the worldwide impact of Apollo 8's Christmas broadcast. The team took over 700 photographs of the moon and 150 of the Earth, including the memorable image of all, that one that said, "Earthrise, a defining image of our home planet." I'm sure all of you remember that. In describing what the experience of the old moon, one of the Apollo crew members, Jim Lovell, remarked, "Vast loneliness up here at the moon is awe-inspiring, and it makes you realize what you have back on Earth. The Earth from here is a grand oasis in the vastness of space." The message of this time period, stamped in the fabric of our history, was certainly a reminder of the humbling opportunity and responsibility of life in this grand oasis of our Earth. This resonated with me as I reflect on finding meaning behind my career in public service, and that we live in this grand oasis. And it has been my career to plant trees under whose shade I do not expect to sit. Indeed, I'm here today as a county supervisor because of the rich legacy of Thomas Bard, a pioneer in many ways, especially in the early formation of the county of Ventura. and the legacy of the achievement of Joni, a woman who has held the heart of this city and whose service was valued in several philanthropic organizations such as the Hueneme Public Library. She made it possible for an ordinary person like me to stand before you today in service to this community. I was asked to join tonight to share a reflection of my career and my time serving in the 3rd District. I never sat down and planned this career, I truly didn't. Over 40 years of serving in the public. I began in Michigan, working for the mayor's office, and I decided as a pioneer at that time that Michigan was not my long-term residence. It was way too cold, way too cold. So I moved to sunny LA. I was dreaming California, and I moved to sunny LA, worked for the LA City Council for a period of time, started a small business with my wonderful husband, Randy Long, and that's what brought us up to Ventura County. And then I'm in serving with Maggie Kildee for 91 to 97, the incumbent supervisor at that time. I realized that I truly did love public service and wanted to get back to it. So that is how it all began. It's an honor and privilege to stand here and stand on the shoulders of past representatives of this district, and to know that my 2 decades in this office are a sand on the beach, piece of sand on the beach, but something that obviously has enriched my life and allowed me to do what I care passionately about, and that is that public service. So it was in 2000 when the census changed, and the census brought forward, I should say, a change in my district lines, the 3rd District lines, and I was so very fortunate to pick up Port Hueneme.
So were you?
And I was able to put my toes in the sand and proudly represent the residents of Port Hueneme and South Oxnard. It's a geographically diverse district, the 3rd District, from the shores of Hueneme Beach to the Los Padres National Forest to Lockwood Valley, where they have midget wrestling. Incorporates some of the best in Ventura County, and it truly is a grand oasis when the wonderful beach of Hueneme is one of the hidden secrets that you treasure and I treasure. To be fully engaged with the 3rd District over the last 20 years, a total of 26 years with the county, it really has brought about challenges, achievements, those seeking advice, in short, working hard to never lose track of who you serve. And that's the important piece of public service. So I really do appreciate those who've helped me along the way. Certainly first and foremost, my husband Randy. Raise your hand, Randy. There you go. And all of you, Bob Quinn, thank you so much. RDP 21, you really helped me. And John Sharkey, who has been on the council for 18 years, John? Yeah. So we go way back. And when I stepped in to work in Port Hueneme, John was the first one I went to talk to. Some of my greatest achievements, I feel, certainly has been the reopening of Santa Paula Hospital, a much-needed hospital in the Santa Clara Valley, serving over 50,000 residents. It had closed, it filed bankruptcy. I was able to get the board support and move through the court system to reopen that hospital. Certainly working to protect Navy-based Ventura County, which periodically gets threatened with closure. And I'll tell you one thing I've always felt strongest about this public service is that I've learned something new almost every day. And certainly starting with RDP 21, to learn so much about our naval base and what a rich resource it is for us, both militarily, strategically, but as an employer and an innovator and an organization that honors our country and honors our community, and that is Naval Base. I thank you, Doug, for your service, and thank all of the service members. Supporting the efforts to restore our wonderful Ormond Beach. It is a true gem along the entire coastline of California, the last remaining wetlands to be restored. And we cannot lose sight of the effort there to restore Ormond Beach. It has one great potential for the environmental restoration piece, but also for the ecotourism opportunity that's available with the restoration project, to bring people to our county because they enjoy the environment and the birds and the wetlands habitat. That has economic value, great economic value. We must not lose sight of that. We must continue to work on that project. The challenges and how did I conquer them? I'm one person. It's never one person. It's not a cliche to say a village, but it really does take all of you and the community and that partnership, that collaboration, that bringing the hard work of rolling your sleeves up and working on committees to be able to work through what solutions may be and what direction that the public would support to go and improve the community. And that's, I think, one of the rewards of serving in public service. If you're able to listen to the community and then ask people to sit at the table with you to work through the solutions, that's the best way it is to enrich your community. And we love where we live. And it really is because of doing our homework, listening to one another, being open to working together, and being able to know that by doing that, our community is a far better place to live, work, and play. If the sky is clear tonight when you head home, take a look up at that old moon. May it serve as a reminder that it's what you do right now in our grand oasis of life that makes a difference. Embracing the humbling opportunity and the responsibility we have to serve others. And by doing that, you experience and celebrate your own remarkable life journey, and you celebrate the joy of sharing this wonderful oasis, this earth we have with one another. And I celebrate that with you tonight, and thank you so much for inviting me to speak with you tonight.